Hey, Brian.
Hey Martin, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm gonna step away for 1 second and I'll be back.
All good?
And we'll probably let people trickle in for like 3 minutes and then get started.
Sounds great. Hey, Rasan.
How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I just got off the phone with
Hey,
or
Rasan.
yeah,
We'll talk about everything later.
right. Sorry.
We're live, Rasan, just so you know.
Gotcha.
You may want to turn off your video. I think Brian from Hey Council is just going to be letting folks in shortly.
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah, people are trickling in now. Martin, where are you based out of again?
Vancouver, Canada.
Nice. How's the weather up there? Is it getting warmer?
Not yet. We got a couple of warm months in July and August. Other than that, it's Pacific Northwest weather.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful at least.
Hi, John. I'm Martin.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Thanks
you
for
as
doing
well.
this.
Martin, is it just going to be you presenting?
It is, yeah. I've got, I think, a couple of colleagues who are joining as well to listen in. I think Rasan is on, and there might be a couple of others joining.
Okay, cool.
I am, and good morning or afternoon.
Morning for me.
Ryan, you're in the Bay Area, is that right?
I'm actually down in San Diego.
Ah, okay. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we kick things off now? We are recording, and we'll post this in the community and in our resource channel for everyone to check out later. But yeah, I'll hand it over to you, Martin. I feel like you're probably the best person to give the overview of what Recital is and does. So yeah, I'll just pass it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Let me just set up my slide deck here. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Really appreciate the chance to tell you, and even better, show you what Recital is like. It's, in summary, a simplified contract management and contract negotiation tool. It's suited well to small legal departments, including solo general counsel and of course, fractional counsel. A little bit about myself. I happen to be an attorney by background. I started off my career working at DLA Piper, but I spent most of my professional career building software companies. So Recital is actually my third software company, and it's inspired a lot by my last software company, which was called Contractually, a company that was acquired by Coupa Software, and also tried to tackle some of the problems around contract negotiation. We learned a lot from that experience, and that has shaped our approach and our design of Recital. And as you'll see, Recital is very different than other contract management solutions that you have seen. So many of you are probably familiar with contract lifecycle management products, CLMs for short, and Recital solves some of the problems that CLMs do, but with a very unique, very different approach that works in your tools, that is email, whether that's Outlook or Gmail, and works in Microsoft Word as much as possible. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Recital, and I want to quickly get into actually showing you the product. And we should have time for questions and discussion. I'm happy to take questions as they come up, but we should have enough time at the end as well. And we've got a special offer for members of Hey Council as well, and we'll walk through that at the end of the webinar this morning. So again, Recital is a simplified contract solution, and it provides contract repository, contract negotiation, and contract review capabilities. One of the things that's unique about Recital is how easy it is to implement. You can literally get started within 1 day. So this isn't a solution that requires weeks or months and months of time before you can get started. And one other important thing is that it's easy to adopt because it works in Outlook or Gmail, and it works in Microsoft Word, as well as with all common cloud storage providers. Fundamentally, this is the problem that we set out to solve with Recital, is just how much time is wasted by lawyers just looking for the stuff they need to do their work. Where's the last version that I reviewed of this contract? How do I get a quick red line of what I've just received from my counterparty against the last version I reviewed? I remember I did the perfect clause that would be just right for this contract right now. And I remember the deal. It was from 2 years ago with Acme Corp. Now, how do I find that clause? So these are the problems that Recital is solving. So mapping this to the work of fractional counsel and also to the work of your clients, Recital for fractional counsel allows you to get a red line directly from your email without having to navigate or hunt through your file folders. Recital also provides a full version history of every negotiation, and it does that without you having to upload documents. With Recital, you continue to edit in Word, and in Word, you can get clause suggestions from your own prior work product, even create a clause library from your templates. And finally, Recital also provides an AI-generated change summary from version to version as you're negotiating a contract. If you want to offer Recital to your clients, Recital provides all the benefits that it does for fractional counsel, but it can provide some additional benefits as well. So one of the issues that clients may struggle with is making sure that they have a single source of truth for all their contracts. Recital can actually create that repository very quickly. So traditionally, this is something that can take months and months of work. Recital can create a repository in less than 3 days. I see some questions here. So I've got a question Hi, Martin. For comparison, some apps do not do as good a job as Litera Compare. They leave out footnotes, comment bubbles, etc. As you'll see, Saeed, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Recital actually uses Litera Compare in the background to generate red lines. So I'll show you in a moment what the red lines look like, but they're the highest quality that you would already be used to. Just keeping going on Recital for clients. The repository is one key benefit that clients can get from Recital. And of course, again, Recital is super easy to implement, even for clients. It's simply a matter of signing in with their existing credentials. So summarizing what's unique about Recital, it works where you work, in Word and in email, as well as with all the common cloud storage providers. It can create a repository automatically and very quickly of all historical contracts. And it keeps itself up to date. As new contracts are signed, Recital detects that those contracts are signed and uploads them to the repository. Recital provides immediate value because it has built-in connectors to your common tools. So there's no upfront implementation or upfront integrations that are required. And lastly, because it doesn't really change how you work as fractional counsel, there's essentially no learning curve to Recital. I'm now going to actually jump into showing you the product. Let me just check if there's any questions before I do that. Thanks, Saeed. Great to hear. I'm going to share a different window now. So I'm sharing the window to create a Recital account. And here, what I want to show you is how easy it is to get started with Recital, and also how quickly Recital starts to process contracts from your cloud storage. So I'm going to create my account. I create my account using my existing credentials. We also support Okta for single sign-on if that's a need for your clients. So here I'm going to sign in as Elise Powers. Going to go through the usual Google authentications. And right there, I have just created my new Recital account as Elise Powers. So Recital recommends a number of steps to get myself set up, connecting my cloud storage, connecting my email, installing my Gmail add-in, my Microsoft Word add-in. What I want to show you here is how quickly I can connect my cloud storage and get Recital processing documents. So I'm going to connect my Google Drive. And again, a bunch of normal Google authentications. So Recital lets me select any number of folders that I want to connect from Google Drive or from other cloud storage. So here I'm just going to select a cloud folder, sorry, a contracts folder, click connect. And that integration is now done. Sorry, that connection, I should say, is now done. So I'm going to go to the records page. This is where I could see all of my contracts. And of course, there's nothing there yet because I just connected my cloud storage. Recital's telling me that I should also be connecting my email account, but I'm not going to do that today. So what's happening in the background right now is that Recital is processing the documents in my G Drive folder. It can distinguish between contracts and non-contracts. It can recognize that some files may be versions of the same contract. It can detect signed contracts, whether by e-signature or wet signature. Very importantly, it can map parent-child relationships. So what I'm expecting to happen here is that this would be being populated, and I'm maybe having a little glitch in the background here. So I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to show you the result of this. Oh, there we go. So Recital's starting to show results here. It's detected a services agreement. Shows me where it found it. It extracted the party names automatically. And if I let it keep going, it would continue on. But let me jump to another account that has more demo data. You can see it's coming in more and more. Said, I see your question, and I'll come back to it later. So I'm going to switch here to show you the result of that processing. So we're looking at a different account now for Fred Asul, where Recital has processed this master subscription agreement. Everything you're seeing on this screen was automatically extracted and organized by Recital. So there's no manual data entry that went to any of this. So Recital extracted the document name, extracted the party names. Recital detected that it's fully signed, and I can verify that it was signed with wet signatures. Recital extracted the effective date. Very importantly, Recital shows me the source of this document. And if there are multiple sources, they will show up here as well. So in this case, this document came from an email received or sent to another party. If this document was in my G Drive, it would show that here as well. And here we can see that Recital has found that this master agreement has some related records, a couple of amendments and an order form. Again, that mapping was done automatically, and I can easily navigate back and forth. Recital's also extracting key clauses from the agreement. So for example, limitation of liability clause, governing law, and so forth. This is something that's under active development right now, and is probably something that's important to your clients in having a contract repository that not only has all their contracts, but is actually able to provide reports with key things like renewal dates, like whether there's any non-standard terms, and so forth. I'm now going to shift gears again, and I'm going to show you what the process looks like to negotiate and review a contract when you're using Recital. So I'm going to start here from a Gmail inbox, and to emphasize, Recital works equally well with the Google Office Suite and the Microsoft Office Suite. So everything I'm showing you here, you would see if you were using Outlook as well. So we're looking at the Gmail inbox for Fred Asul, who's an in-house counsel. Fred has lots of emails about various contracts under negotiation. So for example, here, Fred has received a revised Word document from another party. Fred has the Recital add-in for Gmail, and there's a similar add-in for Outlook. And with this, Fred can get a red line of this attachment in one click. So I'm going to click on Compare with Latest Version. And in one click, I have a comparison of the attachment I just received, that's the revised file, against the last version that I reviewed. And to a question from the audience, this red line is generated under the hood using Litera Compare. So you can see when provisions are moved, they're marked in green, and otherwise in red strikeout and blue for additions. And I'll show you in a moment that you can still edit this comparison directly in Word. But before I do that, a few important things. Number one, Recital provides an AI-generated change summary of what's changed in this new version against the last version. So this might be useful to me as counsel and just getting a quick overview of what's changed. It's also useful because I can copy this summary, and if I need to update a client or other stakeholders, I can use this as a base to do that. The next important thing to note is that Recital is actually keeping a full version history of this negotiation. So again, everything you're seeing on this page, which is the entire history of this negotiation, is automatically created and organized by Recital without manual work. You don't have to upload files to Recital to get this version control. It's automatically created and maintained through the connection with your cloud storage and with your email. So Recital extracted the document name, Recital extracted the party names, and I can see the entire history of when I've sent or received drafts with my counterparty. And again, Recital points me to where this file is stored, is attached to an email, or is stored in a G Drive folder in this case. If I were using SharePoint or OneDrive, those icons would show up here. Recital also makes it really easy to get a comparison at any point. So I can select any two documents, click compare, and again, I have a red line. So the magic of Recital is not so much that it provides red lines, because other tools do that. Microsoft Word does that. Litera Compare does that. There's others as well. The magic of Recital is that you can get that red line very quickly without having to go hunting through different file directories, sometimes finding that, oops, it wasn't saved where you thought it was. Now you have to start all over again. You have to search your inbox to find the document. And maybe 10 minutes later, you finally have your red line. With Recital, it's as easy as simply selecting the two files you want to compare. If you get it wrong, really easy to do that comparison again without having to start all over navigating file directories. One other thing I want to show you from Recital. So one of the issues that we've heard a lot about is the problem of receiving e-signatures, particularly DocuSign envelopes from other parties, where you are not sure if what's been sent by the other party is actually the final version that you agreed to. So the solution today is often to do a visual check to make sure that no changes have snuck in, whether accidentally or otherwise, or for longer documents to download and do a comparison with Word or with Litera. With Recital, let's see what we can do now. So Fred here has received a DocuSign envelope. And normally he could open this up and review it. With Recital, he now has the option to actually go straight to a comparison against the last version that he reviewed. So he can make sure that the version he received via DocuSign is actually the right version and that no changes have snuck in. So here we go through this and, oh, we see, yeah, there's changes that have snuck in. Maybe even some really major changes regarding pricing or limitations of liability or things like that. So of course, we all know that that only happens by accident, but in any event, with this feature, it makes it really easy to make sure that you're signing the right version, or if it's somebody else who's signing at your client, that you can tell them that they're signing with the right version. So let's go back to a comparison here. And now I want to show you how you would edit from here using Word. I'm going to open up this document in Word. All right, so now we're looking at the document directly in Word. Let me zoom in on this so we can see a bit better. So this is the same comparison that we were looking at now as a regular Word document. So the red lines show as track changes in Word, which you can accept or reject. And keep in mind, this is not the other party's track changes now. This is that fresh independent comparison. And with Recital, there's the add-in for Microsoft Word. And this add-in is the foundation for the contract review, clause library, and playbook capabilities that we're building. So right now, as I'm reviewing this contract, I can select any clause. It populates this search box here. Click search. And keep in mind, this is demo data, but this is actually running on a production system. So the search results here match what you would see in real life. What Recital is showing me here is alternative clause suggestions from your prior work product. So your prior work product as fractional counsel, or if you're using Recital with one of your clients, prior work product from that client. So it makes it really easy to find clauses you've used before, to determine whether you've agreed to this clause before with the changes that are there. You'll notice here as well that this particular clause at the top happens to be shared to my clause library. It's super easy to create the clause library with Recital. You can simply import templates, or if you have a document that has your favorite or your preferred clauses, you can simply import that here, and Recital will treat those clauses as part of your library and show them as the first results on a search. One of the things that you can do here, especially if you're working with a client, you can actually share that clause library with your client. So if they actually have a contract manager in-house or others in-house who are also reviewing contracts, they get the benefit of that. Very uniquely, you can also filter down search results by counterparty. So no results found here. Let me see if I can do something. The purpose of narrowing down the search results is that you can find the needle in a haystack. So if you remember you drafted a particular clause from a contract with some vendor or counterparty, maybe it was 2 years ago, you remember the deal, but today there's no good way to find that clause. With Recital, you can actually find it by narrowing down the search results to that particular counterparty. So I know that for many lawyers, especially on an important deal, they will spend not just minutes, but perhaps hours looking for that precedent clause from past agreements. Recital just now puts it at your fingertips. So let's go back to the Recital application. We were just looking at this particular record before. Let's have a look at search. And just as I do that, see some questions. Said, I will come back to your question about CRM. Actually, I can give you the short answer. Our intent is to keep Recital focused on contract management, contract negotiation, and contract review. So it's not our intent to turn this into a CRM or a broader matter management type software. And I see Maria, I think you've had your question answered here. Recital is a data storage manager. If you choose to move off of Recital at any point, we'll of course provide you all of your data. But the intent is that you can access and search documents directly from Recital. So on that note, that's a great segue here. I'm looking at my repository of all contract records here. I can filter that with contracts in negotiation. I can look at just executed contracts, and I can easily search for contracts, for example, by party name. So if I want to search for all contracts with Omnitech, Recital gives me those results very, very quickly. I'm going to be mindful of time here, so I'm happy to take more questions, but I do want to highlight a couple of more things just before we wrap up. One question on your mind, maybe what does Recital cost? We have regular price plans for solo general counsel that start at about $3,600 annually. But in partnership with Hay Council, we're offering Hay Council members, fractional counsel, a very special price, heavily discounted, of $1,500 per user per year. And we're also offering you to try out Recital for 2 weeks at no charge. So if you want to take advantage of that, my colleague Rasan is on the chat. You can email myself, martin@recitalapp.com, and you can CC Rasan. Rasan is spelled RAHSAAN at recitalapp.com. One of the key things about Recital is you can obviously use it just yourself as fractional counsel. You can also offer it to your clients. So where they would have a Recital account, they would presumably include you on their account, and they could use Recital as their repository to store and to search contracts, as well as to negotiate contracts if they're involved with that. Our regular pricing there is on our website. It starts at about $10,000 to $15,000 per year, covering multiple users, and goes up from there depending on volumes and numbers of users. So again, in partnership with Hay Council, we're offering a 20% discount on that regular pricing if you introduce Recital to your clients and they find it valuable and want to use it. Similarly, we would offer a short trial at no charge for clients as well. That brings me to the end of the presentation here. Would love to take any questions. Let me see if there's anything in the chat window. And I see Rasan, my colleague, has posted our email addresses if you want to get in touch with us. Would love to hear from you. Brian, did you have anything that you wanted to ask or comment on as we wrap up?
Yeah, I got one question. Just since most of the lawyers on this call are focused on sort of the fractional GC type practice, I'm curious if you see fractional GCs kind of organize their Recital space differently. Like, I don't know how you would essentially like break out maybe different client folders, or I mean, ultimately I would be using sort of the same G Suite. I have my different folders for different clients. But is that organized in a particular way in Recital versus like one client and one just kind of big mess of a bunch of different folders and files?
Yeah, so you're great question. Right now, this is designed as if you're a solo general counsel.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd love to get feedback from the Hay Council community, because that's something we would look at, is to provide some additional organizational capabilities. But right now, if you're using Recital as a fractional counsel, Recital will organize your past files, but you won't have client-based folders in Recital. Those client-based folders will still be in your G Drive or other cloud storage, but in Recital, you'll be accessing all of your work product from one place. If you're working as a fractional counsel and you actually have an email address under your client's name, then Recital would be organizing everything under that client's name as its own separate account from your Recital account. So bottom line, this isn't quite going to give you what you're asking for, Brian, but as I say, it's something we'd love feedback on. And if there's a response here where we're hearing a lot from the Hey Council community, that we would definitely look at providing better capabilities there.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, I don't even know how useful something like that would be because I haven't really played around extensively with it. I don't know if it actually does provide value in like creating neat folders. Might be more of like a mental thing than it is like actual utility. But yeah, as I play around with it, I'll give you some feedback if there's any.
Would love that. I see a question here from Maria. Can we download the Recital file for any particular negotiation to our client's folder? Yes, you can download anything in Recital to any folder you want. You don't have to do that, but you can absolutely do that, just like you normally do. Any last comments or questions? Fantastic. Hey, Brian, thank you for this. Really appreciate this opportunity. To all of you on the call, really appreciate your time. Would love to hear from you and give you a chance to try out Recital.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Martin and team. Yeah, I love what you guys are building, and I think it's going to be equally useful for both like the solo GCs and fractional councils. So it's I think the thing that is super exciting is just how easy it is to set up. Literally just linking the things we already use, and that gets to work. So excited to use it myself, and yeah, I'll if anything comes about on the Hey Council community and people want to reach out, I'll send them to you. And obviously everyone on this call can see Martin and Rasan's email address right there. Cool.
Again, Saeed, nice to see your face on video.
I was gonna ask, like, you didn't address, and I don't want to, like, take everyone's time so we can connect offline, but I assume because you built such a nice product, you also have all the security requirements. Okay.
We do, and I'm happy to share that info. There's a lot of info on our website that you can have a look at. But Brian, are you intending to share this deck with the people who are registered? What I can do is I'll add a couple of slides about our security measures to that deck if you want to share it privately.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, let's do that. And yeah, I can circulate an email to the attendees that has the deck recording and whatever else you want to share with them.
Excellent.
Great.
Excellent.
Cool.
All right. Again,
Thanks so
everyone,
much.
have a great rest of your day, wherever in the world you are today.
Super cool.
Thank you. That was great.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.